when they bring in all those crazy names, you won't remember those either.
I definitely am familiar with reading stuff
Yeah,
that's very confusing.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So some of the, most of the stuff is people's views, but some of it is bringing in thoughts from their teachers and or what they think is some of the benefits. Yeah. Okay, I think it's time. We'll line up. Looks like a Labor Day weekend absent vacationers. Okay, so we face this way first and we bow 3 times as a formality. And this is toward the pictures there. And then we do a salutation, which is just a greeting to start the class. Okay, so we start off feet shoulder width apart, hands up like this. So one's a fist, the other side's open. So turn toward, so this is mirror image, turn toward the fist side and go 1, 2, 3. Then switch hands. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Bend to the side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Just relax into the positions. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, next. Hands up, arms parallel, reach down to stretch. Turn to your right. Turn to your left. Center. Lift up. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. Press down. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. To your left. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. 2, 3. To your left. 2, 3. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, hands on your waist, circular movements. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Reverse. So try to make it not so fast or physical. So if you relax and you feel the circular motion, you also feel this is a weight change, and the pressure and the soles of your feet will pick up the difference in differentiating substantial and insubstantial. So you're just kind of moving through that. Okay, center, cross your arms, relax. Circular movements, hold the kneecaps. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Streaming so good so far, Chris. And center. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center, hands on your waist, neck turning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Back and forth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, center, tilt, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, center, down, circular movements, reverse, one center. Hands up, pull in, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Spread your feet, turn your shoulders, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, and stop. Okay, turn to your right. Stretch out, front leg folded over, right? Switch. 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 Switch, straighten the front knee. Switch. 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 Okay, center. Okay, so if you can, you spread your legs, go a little wider, and but just don't overdo it. Just do what you can. Then pull one leg in, squat down. Again, do what you can. Then switch sides. Just work at your own pace. Okay, we shake it out. Hands up. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. So breathe through your nose. Inhale and exhale through the nose. Tongue touches the roof of your mouth. Okay, hands in your waist. Shoulder roll. Reverse. Okay, center. Press. Release. Exhale. Inhale. Breathing through your nose. Actually, we always breathe through the nose. And stop. Hands up. Pull in, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, wrists. So circular movements. Okay, try to tie your knees into the movement. Okay, reverse. And down. Palms down. Okay, lift the spine, lift the back. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, on 3, it's straight up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, shake it out. Okay, sway the hip side to side. Relax your neck. And center. Shift. Now we're going to press and lift. Okay, right foot down, left hand down. Then we're going to go up and down and alternate the hands, folding from the elbow. Switch. Okay, center, shake it out. Hands swinging like this. Balance on your left. Kick the right foot in. And center. Switch, other side. Same motion. Okay, center. Out to the side. Cross. Switch. Okay, shake it out. Hands up. Pull in, inhale. Exhale. Up on your toes. Exhale as you descend. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, hands like this. It's called, so it's shoulder, hip, or holding the ball. Right? Step out. Hands like this, turn. Sit back. This is called silk reeling. Go forward and back. So we start here. The hands separate. Sit back and create the circle. So this is just two big circles. Front circle is bigger than the rear hand. Okay, turn, other side. Okay, center. Cross the forearms. Right leg forward. Rear leg weighted. Expand. Open the arms. Little bit of lifting, rising, and settling. That's in the legs. Switch. Okay, center. Feet parallel, shoulder width. Circular movements, sink the elbow. It's the first movement in the form. It's called preparation. All those parallel arms, vertical line, and horizontal line. Rising and sinking. Okay, lower hoop. Shoulder height. Elbows down. Lower, palms down. Straighten up. Extend. Okay, hands up. Pull in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, hands here again. Step out, this time diagonal flying. Shift back. Just repeat the same movement. Switch. So alternating and folding the knees becomes constant. When one extends, the other folds. When the other folds, the reverse happens. So that's how we shift our weight, and that's how we step. Okay, Sana, square the feet. shoulder width, cloud hands. Okay, palms down, lift up, palms out, cross your forearms, and down. Okay, this is carry tiger to the mountain. Okay, center, infinity sign. Form the fists. Okay, palms together. center line, stroke down, strum the lute. Turn, draw the bow. Okay, fan to the back. Okay, raise the hand. Okay, palms down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So those are the warm-ups. Before we do the short form, let's just talk a little about the Tai Chi Paradigm. You know, we have someone joining us for the first time, and she's doing a research project with Peter Wayne. But, you know, in this class we do all these drills. It's the same drills that we're doing. It's called the Tai Chi Paradigm, and the short form is actually called the Tai Chi Paradigm. So does everyone understand what the Tai Chi Paradigm is, or at least ever think about it? Anybody? You know, how it was created, where did it come from?
Example the moves in Tai Chi.
Okay.
All the different moves that strung
Yeah,
together.
the red one? The red one. So the Tai Chi Paradigm is actually a teaching method that I developed, and the short form is actually something I developed over 20 years ago. And like any form that we teach in Tai Chi, there's the traditional, there's the modern, and then there's the different forms that teachers have created over the decades. So the Tai Chi Paradigm is an offshoot of the Wu style Tai Chi as a modified form. I first taught it at senior centers, and it was a sequence so people could learn basically an approach to Tai Chi. But what I realized over the years and years of teaching is that most people do it and they don't really understand why you would do it or what the benefit is, because they going back to the old school of learning, teachers would teach, but they really never told you why you would do a certain way, what the benefits are completely. Because when you get to a more advanced stage of development, then they might open up some of the principles and concepts to let you understand, why you would be learning. But if you did that today, without telling anyone what the benefits are or why you would do it a certain way, you'd probably lose 95% of the people, after the first couple of weeks. So the important thing is, because there's not enough information out there as to what Tai Chi has to offer, other than that people know that it's good, it's prescribed, doctors will prescribe it to elderly people. So, when I've taught over these years, when I started teaching college kids Tai Chi, it was kind of getting younger people to do it, because most people think Tai Chi is for elderly people because that's what you see. Even the commercials would show you elderly people. So when I developed the Tai Chi Paradigm, I called it a modern approach to an antiquated way. And the reason I use that as a phrase is because, by using physical science, some principles in physics, body mechanics, science and how the brain works, how the body works. If you tie all those things together, it all happens through movement. So movement is essential to life, but then when you do martial arts, there's one stage beyond that is functionality. So it's a martial art, but when we move, the critical side of moving is what do you do with those movements. We only move to be functional, right? We can't get anything done if we don't move. But most of us move the wrong way, because when we first learn to move, because we're creatures of habit, we learn visually. Visual learning doesn't tell you anything other than that you can recreate that motion. But when you do something as complex as Tai Chi, the movements are not just what meets the eye the first time around. You have to see it, then you have to understand that there's space, it's dimensional, that there's integration of body. All of those concepts and controlling the different components is something that's critical and important, because the sophistication movement evolves over time. So the sequential learning that we develop in the form is sort of an introduction to movement, and you work with the sequence thinking that that's all that's important, because there's a meditative side to it. But the most important part of continuous movement, because we're creatures of habit, is understanding and sort of discovering what those movements are. But it helps when it's supported by information. So integration of body, how you manipulate your appendages, how your torso moves, all of that stuff comes into play, because movement is the key not only to functionality but the key to circulation. So the Chinese always talk about qi, energy, movement in space, but it's driving those fluids in your body, but it's also the energy in the body. But that's something that's very hard to understand. So if you understand movement as being a motor skill, it's dimensional and how your joints should be using, then you would think of moving correctly and moving naturally, the way your joints were designed to move, and moving without restriction. So restriction is always tightness or muscle contractions. And why is it there? Because we don't really know how much strength we need in the body to do certain things. Other than physical exercise where you do a lot of bodybuilding, where you're using groups of muscles, that's just totally physical as far as what you're trying to develop. You know, building stronger muscles, bigger muscle tissue. With movement, especially as you get older, it's more critical to be moving, you know, efficiently and integrated, because that's how we're supposed to move. A lot of that is lost, you know, in time, because, you know, once you start to do certain things, certain tasks after you've learned it, you don't really think about it anymore. You just keep doing it. And then I was talking this morning to Eddie. If you do something that you thought was the way to do it and just keep doing it over and over again, and it is actually the wrong way, you're going to damage your joints. You're going to injure yourself. You're going to cause a lot of inflammation. But if you learn to move naturally without resistance to your movement, which is what we try to develop, then your body will move efficiently in this integrated fashion, and you're going to use a lot less of the energy required to move, because we waste a lot of energy. Stress, tension, everything that's in your body uses energy. So if you're tight, and people that are usually stressed are pretty uptight, what happens? Your body goes into defensive mode and you get tense. So doing this, we go through all these warm-ups, first working with specific areas of the body when we're turning, when we're bending, not building a whole lot of integration and motion, but using sections of our body. Then we kind of move through those, and we go into some of the shifting of weight, working the lower half of the body, the lower extremities, upper extremities, being kind of isolated and separate, but not completely isolated, because we move the wrist, the elbow, and the shoulders and the upper body. We move the hips, the knees, and the ankles in the lower body. Then once we build that proprioception and, you know, the different actions, then we build some integration of body where the hands move in a pattern. So you develop patterns. So by developing these patterns, they kind of override eventually the habits that your body didn't recognize as how to move correctly. So once you develop the patterns, then you have to develop space. Space is when you start to integrate your torso with your arms and your legs. We call it upper-lower coordination. While we're developing upper-lower coordination, you're going to start to develop right and left relationships, upper-lower relationship, and then the cross-lateral relationships where we're doing this kind of stuff. That's all tied to equal opposite actions, direction of movement. Movements directionally are actually forces in direction. So we learn to control those directions. So when we turn the hand like this, or we drop the hand like this becomes action. But this is just this arm. When we move like this, then we start to develop what we call the passive active motion. So there's sustaining an action, there's movement by driving it, so there's that balance in motion. So that's what we have to learn, and the body figures all of this out if you have the concept, and then eventually your body will evolve. So evolving means reaching a certain threshold where your body has taken it in to a subconscious level. Then the next level after that threshold will change to another level of training. It's like peeling the onion. Every layer comes off. So when it comes off, you go into the next layer, and you evolve and you evolve and you evolve. So that's, you know, what happens when you do simple exercises. It becomes complex movement. So if you look at Susan's back, there's a Tai Chi Paradigm logo there. So all the letters in the paradigm, it's an acronym for the different concepts in the Tai Chi Paradigm. So if you haven't looked at the back of one of those shirts, you might look at one of those and kind of try to understand what it spells out and what it tells you. So anyway, so we're going to go through the short form. Mine, you want to work with, mine is going to work with you on anything and everything with the short form. Eric's on the other side. We'll go through the short form and the long form. Okay, ready? Susan, yeah, Sharon's going to stay here. Ready? Preparation. So we'll do the Tai Chi Paradigm form. So there's vertical to horizontal. That's a critical understanding. Vertical to horizontal. Stalk flaps wings, toe heel pivot. Brush knee 4 times. Close the door. Form the fists. Leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Back to neutral. Turn. Stroke out. Fist under elbow. Neutral position. Repulse the monkey. Second, repulse the monkey. Okay, hold the ball to diagonal flying. Sit back to insert needle. Step forward, fan through the back. Turn. Stroke down. Parry and punch. Step up, form the fist, and punch. Divert, block, and punch. Cross the arms, leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Turn. Carry tiger to the mountain. Cross hands. Raise the left hand. Bend from the waist. Stork flaps wings. Turn. Left side grasps the sparrow's tail. Left side single whip. Open the stance. Hold the ball, reverse the ball. Diagonal flying. Sit back, stroke down, part the horse's mane. Toe out, step up. Stroke down, part the horse's mane. Cross corner. Jade Lady work shuttle. Cross corner. Jade Lady work shuttle. Drop and hook your wrists. Okay. Cloud hands. And we're back to single whip. Hold the ball. Flip it over. Diagonal flying. Out to the side. Elbows to the side. And press down. Okay, deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, so with the long form, we've been working sections that are not in the short form. So we worked on the obliques. We worked on the piece that carried Tiger to the mountain last class, and then it leads us to the first set of cloud hands and then the kicks. Then we did the first fundamental motions in the kicks, right? So that's what we've been working on. So just a review on the obliques, just to get into for everyone. Then we'll do that twist stance position, and then we'll do the piece up to that, and we'll work the kicks a bit, right? So from here, this is where you go into the oblique movements, and this is carry Tiger to the mountain. And then you cross your forearms, and we end up here. So this is called cross hand position. We turn like this. Develop your first brush knee by setting up your arms, just like the very first time you did a brush knee. Now you go to the left side, you sit back, and then we turn to the left with the waist. Then unwind the waist as we pivot on the foot. Now we go to the left side, push, brush knee. So there's just the right and left side with a 180-degree turn. Here's a grass the sparrow's tail, right side, sorry. And then once you get to the push position, you hook your wrists, and then you go to the oblique single whip. Okay. Now we pivot. That's something you practice to get to the mirror side, because our goal is to get to fist on the elbow to do the repulse the monkey. Okay. So that's the only movement that's movements that are different, but the process you know. Now once we get to repulse the monkey, typically we would end up here, hold the ball, step up and go to diagonal flying, right? So that's how it is in the paradigm. Now when we're here, instead of holding the ball, we do the lower hoop. Okay, the lower hoop, you do this turning. Now here's how you turn. Your right foot is forward. Yeah. So you pivot on the heel of that foot and sink down on the left side. So you see you're like this. Then you have to shift your weight over and then bring your hips around. When you bring your hips around, you're going to end up on the ball of the back leg. And then you lift your spine and turn the hands out. You lift and balance, then you open your stance and you go forward to the side. Now you're in this position, and we would hold the ball by spiraling down. You shift your weight, and you're in the diagonal flying now, and this is where we continue. Just like in the beginning now, we have a few more movements. We step up, raise the hand, bend from the waist, stork flap swings. Then we turn. Then we're in the left side vertical, and what do? We do one brush knee. So that's standard procedure. We know that. And then we sit back, we lift the knee, and we insert the needle. We step forward, fan to the back. Okay, so fan to the back, just like the warm-ups, just like in the forms, the fundamentals. You turn, stroke down to parry and punch. Okay, then we invert the hand. After the punch, we step up, form the fist, and punch. Oh, step back, sorry. Step backwards on this one. You need to vert, block, and punch. Then we step up to grasp the sparrow's tail. Okay, good. And and then we're back to single whip. Okay, so those are the pieces that tie that first section before the cloud hands. So like Bob just mentioned, in the long form, the first time you retreat to form the fists and punches is in the long form, and then later on it'll show up as stepping forward and then step forward again. So step up to grasp the sparrow's tail is one of the things that you would have to practice. So if you're on this side, then you would step up like in the paradigm form. If you're on this side, then you retreat, and that means to step backwards, just like in Repulse the Monkey, you step backwards. Okay, so that's the piece that's there. Now carry tiger to the mountain is this as the drill, right? So when I mentioned earlier that there are patterns, here's your upper hoop, here's your cross hand position, here's your lower hoop, right? So those pieces are actually in any of the transitions that take you to carry tiger to the mountain. So if my right foot is forward and I do the lower hoop, it's not in the order as when you cycle through. It depends on where you consider the starting point, right? So if I'm here and I pivot around like this, there's my lower hoop, here's my upper hoop, and the palm is out. So that it stops there because this is your phase of the transition. So then we have to stand on one leg. So when we first pivot like this, our weight is still back here. When we transition forward by pushing off the back leg and then turning the hips, that takes us here. But because we want to bend forward a little because our center of mass has moved, right? When we lift the hands, we want to lift the back. But when we lift the back, we also have to project the knee forward to get your weight over that supporting leg. That's when you begin to go to the vertical position. And then opening the stance would vary with the individual depending on how flexible you are, how strong your legs are, and so forth. But the key thing is finding your center, maintaining balance, because the whole premise of doing any of these postures is controlling your center of mass. In Tai Chi, we call it forward, backward, right, left, and center. Center is central equilibrium, your balance point. So for every posture, there's a different balance point because center of mass is where all the points cross to a center point. So it varies depending on how far your arms are relative to your body. This is the simplest one because everything is balanced. Your legs are even, your hands are even. So finding your center is right here. But when you go like this, then it starts to change. So what finds your center for balance so you don't tip over, it becomes your sensory system. Your body responds based on what it's learned through the receptors that are in the joints, in the muscles. So your body will learn that, and when we do this over and over again, that's what we're building as muscle memory, but muscle memory is really skeletal memory. When we create a hoop like this and a triangle like this, those positions over time is embedded in your system. So it will always go there because it knows that that's what it is. Now the first time around, it's going to be all over the place. You can't find center line, the hand's over here, this is over here. Nothing matches, nothing fits. So you have to go through this process. It's a process of elimination. So when we learn through trial and error, well, our body will figure it out. Okay. So when we're like this and we turn to here, we lift, we shift first. So shifting is the shin bone moving forward. And you settle into that. Your spine is over the supporting leg. And then when you lift your spine, you're vertical. So that's that top of the head to the tailbone relationship. And then you open your stance. We scoot down here, open the legs, and then we're here. This goes in, and it goes down. This goes in, and it levels. So that is missed a lot of times because when you're first learning it, then this hand will go here because it missed the center. So when you go like this, and you go like this, and you go like this, it's sink the elbow, relax the shoulder, and you have to pass through center. But where did that position come from? It comes from here. because we've learned this position, but we don't pay attention to it because that position is in this exercise. Right? So we don't cross-reference those things until our body identifies with it. Then when you pass through a position, now you have integrity of movement. So that becomes structures. That's a whole nother level of understanding. Okay, so then cloud hands. What's the difference in this cloud hands and the one we shift? Then we shift and we shift. We touch down, we move the hands, we pivot, and then turn the hips. Now you see, now we have lower body and upper body integration. The hands move, the feet move, the torso moves, all of it building the phases and the phrasing of movement. So when we move, we integrate. There's a hand, the torso, all the way to the leg. You get that relation between up and lower, and then you get that cross-referencing and moving through space as dimensional changes. So when we do that, now you're developing the complex motion. And it doesn't stop because the timing in that is pretty complicated when you're first learning it. Until it becomes innate, it becomes your subconscious, and your feet and your legs would just know to move the way. Now the hands and now how you gesture, how the hands move becomes another dimension of movement down to your fingertips. Down to the fingertips, to the toes of your feet, to the top of your head. You see, so this is, what you strive for when you're practicing this for a long term. But that's building motor neurons, it's building brain plasticity, building all the stuff that's the true mind-body relationship. So meditation, all the stuff that people do, or standing, like Eddie asked, when you stand, what does that develop? That's sustaining a position, right? You sustain a position, develop muscle memory. But sustaining a position isn't empty. Your body and mind is still involved because you're conscious. Because you're conscious, your body has the ability to maintain a certain amount of tonus in the muscles so that to sustain it, your mind intent is to tell you to stay erect, otherwise you'd collapse. You would know that you're alert and awake and you're here, but you're not really thinking about what's totally involved. That you should be in a vertical position, you're holding this circle. That's all you think. You just clear your thoughts. But in movement, it's much more complicated because now you got to bring in ideas, the vertical spine, the connection between right and left, the upper-lower coordination. When the elbow moves, does the knee move? When the wrist moves, does the ankle move? When the hips move, does the shoulder move? So that's the relationship, on a simple level. But then when you build a lateral relationship, then one could be active, one can be passive, one can be passive, one active, and it constantly cycles through. So that's a whole nother chapter. So anyways, let's go through that section of the form, then we'll work the piece on the kicks. All right, ready? Feet parallel. Yeah, long form up to the cloud hands, and then we'll do the kicks. Here's the first carry tiger to mountain. Then goes to the bow stance, the archer stance, and now we're here. Then we cross and sink. Here's the obliques, and we'll continue. So oblique grasp the sparrow's tail to oblique single whip. Then we pivot around. The goal is to get to fist on the elbow. Turn the body, turn the waist. Turn back, find your center. Repulse the monkey 3 times. Pivot, straighten every leg. Shift through your center. Lower hoop. Here's your carry tiger to the mountain. Twist stance. Stand vertically. Open the stance. Hold the ball. Shift diagonal flying. Shift step up. Press forward. Pass through center. Raise the hand. Bend from the waist. Stork flaps wings. Turn, toe heel pivot, 1 brush knee. Sit back to insert the needle. Step up, fan through the back. Turn, stroke down, parry and punch. Step backwards, retreat, straighten the back foot. Divert, block, and punch. Step up to grasp the sparrow's tail. Hook your wrist, single whip. Hold the ball. Cloud hands. Back to single whip. Okay, next we pivot. And we begin the kick, so we'll do the setup. Here, stay here. Yeah, we'll do it. We did that first. Set up, flip the hands. Fold and open. Flip. First instep kick. Cross, open. Flip and fold. Left instep kick, turn. Then we're going to do a heel kick, so that this is something you know after the heel kick. We're going to do a brush knee. Another brush knee. And similar to brush knee, but we're going to change the right palm to a fist. Brush down and planting punch. Now we're going to cross like this and turn, and we do the back fist. So this is a pretty standard procedure here. Back fist, step up. This is your 4th movement, same as the first. This is going to beat the tiger. So face the corner, open the stance. No, stay there. Yeah, cross. Then we'll find here. We'll go through all of this. So the Jade Lady work shadow, but it's really called beat the tiger. and then we're here. Okay, so it's the opposite side, left side. Make your fists, turn toward the mirrors, lower the hoop, cross the arms, level the elbows, heel kick, 2 punches to the ear. Let's just get these last 2 kicks and then we'll work on that set of movements. Cross, open, turn around, spin all the way around. Flip the hands over, your left hand's on top, fold the elbows, parting leg, and you stroke down to parry and punch, and the sequence repeats itself. Okay, so we're going to go through that kicking series because, in the past, a lot of times people just join into the long form and never really get down what's important, in the different sections. So now the kicking section is probably the most complicated of all the movements. It requires balance, flexibility, and there's some complex flipping of hands. But, everything that we have here, let's put our hand like this. This is vertical elbow, horizontal on the opposite side. When this hand comes down and this hand comes up, that's vertical and horizontal. So we did this and did this. There's just the 2 positions. This is your lower hoop. One's in. This is your palm in front of the face. If I drop the elbow a little, that's all that is. So vertical elbow could be palm out. It could be palm like this. It could be palm like this. It could be palm like this. So now you can see that how your palm faces changes the gesturing of the motion, right? Now, when we're here, this is palm out. Palm striking face or setting up like this is away from you. This is the palm facing up. When we flip the hand, it looks like that. All right. Now, when you integrate movement and you bring in your torso, you bring in the forward position, it changes the action. But basically, without any other movement, it's just doing this. When we reverse the ball, it goes like this. Right? So all you're doing is put this hand on top, put this hand on the bottom, and it's like steering a wheel. Maybe more like on a boat where the wheel is vertical, or if you had a big wheel and you had to turn it, that's the functional side of moving your arms like that, right? Is to reverse the ball. So there's a strategy with the movement as a technique, but taking away the technique, this is all your limbs are doing. Now when we do this, if I put this foot out here and I turn, okay, and I turn like this, and I turn like this, the hand looks like it's different because it went to another plane. So that's what you see when you were doing this high path to horse movement. And we turn, because now when we turn the body, right? So the lower hand is driving the upper hand, and the upper hand is driving the lower leg. You see? So that's upper body relationship. When this hand moves, then this leg moves. When this goes back, this one goes back. So you have that in reversing the ball. You have that in different places in the form. So don't get confused when you see the hands do this. Now you cross. Now you fold the elbow so that you touch the elbow on the inside of your hand and you step out. Now you spread the hands like this. Okay. Now when you spread your hands, this is elbow out. When I spread my hands, there's elbow in, right? So between out and in is right and left. Because I pivot and draw my elbow in, then my hands move out, right? So when you're doing movement, it becomes a function of something else. Because my elbow goes in, the hands go out. The elbows go out, the hands come in. And you say, well, I never learned that before, right? You never saw that, right? You never saw it maybe like this, but you saw it like this because when the elbow drops down, the hands come in. When I press down like this, now when I lift, the elbow is straight, and then it folds, and then it's straightened. So when we talk about balance and movement, folding and unfolding are the two things that happen. You can't get around that, right? So when we're here, the first line of motion here as a fundamental is to do this. 1. Now when we reverse the ball, it's really this, and we turn the foot, it becomes this. When we step up and then drop our elbows and do the cross hand position, now that's cross hand position. We know that from carry tiger to the mountain, right? Here. Now we lift the knee and we open. Now we know this from this. You see this movement? That's actually the motions for the hand and the leg. You're building some strength here. Now when you lift your knee, and if you kick, you would kick like that. And then your hand resets to here. Now how did the hand reset to here? We reset to here because we turned the shoulders and we merged the hands like this. So that's the beginning of integration of body. So when there's right and left relationships, upper and lower coordination, it's all tied into everything that we do. So, the complexity of movement is something that your body has to discover over time. But those are all the little components. So if you're not doing that, all those components have to be consciously awakened and then build that sequence. It's really building different spatial awareness, but spatial change is really like the phases and action, because there's a constant phase in the direction because it's three-dimensional. And then when you tie your whole body into the movement, it becomes multi-dimensional movement. So to go this way or this way, where the hands and this start to tie together, it's in everything that you've been doing already, but you just it doesn't connect when you start to learn a new sequence. And that's where you get confused. But once you get the sequence, basically, then you'll be able to cross-reference the carry tiger to the mountain. This, cross, open, cross, open. Those are just basic motions. When we change the directions, this is hold the ball, only over here. This is hold the ball over here. So that becomes a right-left corner space, 45 degree there, 45 degree corner, frontal corner. Same hold the ball. But where you develop that is here. Now if I put my hand here and I turned, and I turned, and I turned, and I turned. You see, it's so simple, but yet it looks so complicated. What's that? Doesn't look easy though? Well, it's we'll build on it, but I think that helped. Didn't it? Didn't it help? Okay. Mara got confused. But that's what you said 10 years ago. That's confusing. You said that 10 years ago, or when you first started, you said, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, but bigger, but a little bit bigger. Yeah, this is like this, but if I turn my hands out, it becomes this. See, this and this is the forearm turning. But the problem is small motor skill isn't picked up in the body because of the resistance in your musculature. The tension in your body or the not knowing side of movement doesn't allow your body to do it. So you have to break the habit of not letting it turn by the mind telling the So the 5 stances we have, it's really we call southern 5 stances. There's also northern 5 stances. That's what Wushu does. But because we're a southern stylist, we don't have as many of the high kicks as some of the styles. Northern styles have more of the high kicks. So was there a specific reason that you asked about back kicks? Yeah. Yeah. Well, northern styles have, a lot more of the, the side kicks and the jumping kicks. We use them when we in sparring, but in our northern forms we will have those tornado kicks and so forth. So that's why you see a lot of hand movements. And hand movements are very, very, in application, very specific to your posture, your position. So the patterns of movement, like when we do this or dragon claw, that's considered middle area. So we have 3 areas. The middle area, the high, which is the face area, and then the low is really around the waist. Even though low could be below the waist, the tendency is just to keep our hands as the 2 extreme positions would be low waist level, high would be here. And we don't go up there because a lot of times when movements are reaching, it's more for alignment and aesthetics. But when it comes to functionality, you have to stay within the framework of your space. So we reference all our moves. So when we say we're both in a horse stance, if he punches to my face, right, then my high block would do this. Okay, I don't have to go up there. That's a wasted motion to reach up there. All I need is to go to here. Now you say, well, that's going to hit me in the forehead. Maybe, well, if I move to the side, then it's not there. So most of the time when we do a block, it's not just your arm. It's actually some motion other than that. So typically in a high block, you would be here, right? So when I turn, you didn't see how I moved his hand. It's because I turned into my leaning position, you see. So that helps you sort of redirect the force. Now in a low position, it's like this. So if he punches to my belly, I'm like this. So, well, if it goes lower, what do? You sink. You bend. You don't extend your arms. And one of the mistakes people do when they do blocks that's lower than that space is to go like that. You don't do that because you lose your center, you lose your balance, and you lose your positioning. Now with a middle block, you have this movement that goes from this side to this side, right? Now when you go from this side to this side, that go in the opposite way. Those are the direction of movement. So if my hand is here and he goes like, he throws in or reach, if he grabs my hand, I can just do that if I want to. But if he throw the punch to the chest, I would do this. Now I didn't actually just stay here and do this. I actually did this. But it was an action that allows me to move away and redirect. Now if I go like this and he punches again, there's my return movement. So where's the return movement? When you do this, right? So between right and left and right, that's what the hand is doing. Okay. When you do your dragon claw, we have this movement, but then what does it do? It does this and then does that, right? So while I'm in this position, you can see the direction of movement. It's pretty close. I'm not blocking out here. When I block like this and then I turn like this, that's the extension of that movement. So that becomes 2-dimensional. It's more than 1 dimension in the sense that I'm here, there's one plane of movement. That's another plane of movement going in a forward direction. So when you do your dragon claw and you're like this, you're actually doing this. So I'm in the forward position because I transition from here to here. Now if I did this and I did this, that becomes dragon claw like this, moving from one hand to the other. So why we do these forms over and over again is to develop muscle memory, they call it. But it's really positioning, skeletal memory. So once the hand knows that and you've been practicing in this space, you're developing a middle block, whether you know it or not. So that's why everything that you do, whether it's anything, thing that comes into space, that's what you're going to do. And the better you get at it, the more accurate that's going to be. See? So when we do these movements, if we just stand here like this and try it, that's the movement you learn in the beginning, right? So you don't want, two things you don't want to happen is to have the hand too close to the body. And why is that? Because if he punches and I'm blocking when it gets to here, that's a chance that you're going to miss it. It's too close. And if it's very fast, you only have a split second. But if I'm here, I have a little bit more room. You see that? So between this and this is the triangle. Between this, okay, and this is whether I protect here or not. So this is your ideal position right here. And he throws his punch, I'm here. Now, if it's continuing in, what do? Do that? No. You do this. I turn. So that's what happens when we do this. He punches. That's my turn. That redirected it. Now in form, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But actually, when he throws a punch, I'm just like this. It comes like this. That's your salute. But all the actions in doing that salute is where the functionality of that motion comes from. So in the beginning stages, you first learn your 4 forms, get all those sequences down. They're just a way of housing these movements, these movements, these movements, these movements. They're exactly what we're doing in the forms, but those are formatting all these positions in your body. And eventually, what happens when you have movements in the body and you've been doing them long enough, like habits, those habits can turn into reflexes. And the hand just does this, and it'll do this just like you've been doing the form. But not everyone, when you're applying a technique, will accommodate you. They might just throw a random punch. So what do? You have to randomize your motion. Do the block, do the strike, depending on where it is. So if you're in second form, you have this, and you have this. Those are 3 actions. You learn to move from one position to the next. That's what you're doing in this, right? When it's like that, that's what happens. If I throw a punch here, this becomes a block. This becomes a block. If it comes here, I go like this, and I punch. So it's just, you're moving from here to there to there to there, just learning how to respond. And then eventually, you can apply the techniques. So that's the strategy that's inside the traditional arts. But the thing is, when you're doing them for weeks on end, a month, and you say, well, I'm not learning anything. You're actually programming motions in the body. So you're building, motor skill, you're building neurons, you're building hand-eye coordination. You don't know where you're striking when you first do this. But over time, you develop an understanding of space and perception. So when he throws a punch, and I throw a punch, do I know this is my length? I know that length because I've been doing it, and I know where the hand is going and how far I can go. So in other words, if I do this and I'm this close, do I extend all the way or it stops here? You have that in your 4th form, right? The short punch. The short punch is when I do this. There's your short punch. So every length of your punch, every strike that you have is really designed for space, and you actually will develop that understanding. That's part of the perception. So for the kids that learn it, it's all building those ideas. Eventually the form starts to build in your body. So you want to continue? Yeah. So those are strategies. Yeah, first form, everybody knows first form except for Michelle. You know first form? Yeah. She can copy. Oh, yeah. Oh, you want to jump in here? Okay. All right, ready? Begin. Up, pivot. Salute. Don't forget the stances. Stances are the most important. The leg work. Okay, eyes follow the hands. Step back, chun kyo. Scoop. Uppercut. Remove. Punch. Squat down. Uppercut. Remove. Punch. Suspended horse. cross hands. Lean to the back, strike to the front. Remove high. Step forward, punch. Squat down. Uppercut, sliding step. Squat down. Elbow up. Cross hands. Cutting hand. Palm. Remove. Punch. Step to the back. Stroke across. Elbow. Back fist. Palm. High block. Crescent kick. Jump kick. Trapping hand. Turn. Pivot. Back fist. Remove. Punch. Okay, change directions, back to the center, back to the front. Sliding step, palm. Scoop, press, kick. Punch. Cross, dragon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, fold, and back to center. All right. So while you know the form, you have to set up every movement before you go to the next move. So what would be a setup? What do you think a setup is? A setup would be the beginning of that's a setup. So when you do a chun kyo, right, when you punch, you have to set it up, go into your position. That's your starting position, because each block is really one unit. So you have to connect the units or the pieces, those are your postures, but you have to do a good setup every time, because the movements are not just applicable there, it's actually your transition. So that's something as you evolve you'll understand more. Yeah. So your setup is important. When we're here, that's a setup, because now we know this. When we step, there's your final. That's learned. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ending at the same time. When you first learn it, you go through legs, hands, legs, hands. But later on, it becomes this, where the hands and legs will build, that coordination. So once you've learned the broken down method, you want to turn. So this goes that way and this goes this way. This goes out and this goes out. So now you see that the torso, all this stuff that you're doing in the first exercise is to build the back rotation, so you know how to turn, how to move. Otherwise you become stiff. You move your arms, but you don't connect to the legs. So that's where your stances come in. Okay. So any questions? Actually, I watch you. You pick up a lot from watching. So you watch good instructors. You pick up all those movements. But when you're first learning it, you have to break it down. Otherwise, you don't know the geometry of position. Right. So one of the things, when we punch and we go like this, you don't want to bring it to here and then do that, because you left a void. One of the things that happens when you do this is you're exposed here. So when you do this, you want to shift, and then the hand just turns and you drop like that. So in other words, if I were to block his punch that goes to the waist, I would just intercept it here. You see? So in functioning or in applying a technique, I don't want to do this. I lost the time to pick up that hand. So when you do this as a reflex, I have to do this. So the avoiding of that technique is this. Interception of that arm is this. And the reason why you have to go to a cat stance is because I wouldn't be able to step if I wasn't in a cat stance. Why? Because if I did that block and I have weight here, I'm stuck. I can't move. So what would I have to do to move my leg? I'd have to do this. Right? So in intercepting his hand, right, allows me to do this or wherever this leg wants to go. Because now this is free. So that's why footwork is so important. We don't learn the advantage of that until we experience the fact that we have to step. Then you lean, that's avoiding, you step up and you strike. So we look at it as a strike, but look at this. He punches on this side, right? I step up here or here, and then if I avoid, it'd be like this. If I twist, it becomes this. Now, it's not this, it's this. See? And he would. So that's the two hands going to opposite sides. So this wouldn't work without the legs. So the strength in this forward leg is important. So let's just try that. Just do the transition from two sides. Do that first. Yeah. All right, ready? Step. 1. Step. 2. 3. Now in the form we would do this, right? But we can also do this. So that's transition from side to side. The cross hand position is to cover. So if I cover like this, strike, and then I go like this, and go like this, that folding becomes a cover hand. And what's a cover hand? My hand is here, and I do this, that's covering. So this and this is really coming horizontal to vertical. So all the little moves you learn even in the first form is very important, and it's a technique. So let's do that series, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's switch the other side. 1, drop down, cover on the same side, yeah, and then cross, go to the left, that way. Strike. So that's confusing, right? Because we only know the right side. So when we're here, we have to do this. Here's your back side. Switch. 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 So eventually you'll recognize that it's in the transition, it's the pivoting. Most of the power doesn't come from this, because when you go like this, if he extended his arm like that, there's very little strength here. Even if he tensed it, it takes very little to move it, tense it, right? And then I go like that, because out here, there's no strength really here. There's not enough leverage in the body. So he really relies on this and his leg coming forward as the technique, right? So you can see when we're here, and I turn like this and I put my shoulder here, you can see that's here. So that's where the power comes from, your center, right? So your body, right? So that's how we learn to integrate. So that's stage of development. But once you understand it, at least when you practice, your goals will be different. Okay, so let's just try it one more time. We'll move on to the elbow. Let's do the elbow after that. After that, we'll do that one more. Not the whole form, just this one. 1, 2, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4, 1. So there's your setup. That's your setup. There's your execution. Here's your cover hand, setup, go to horse, and to leaning. So you can do it. Ready? Again. Now let's do from the punch. Let's do from the punch. Ready? Shift. There's your shift. Weighted. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So as simple as that is, you're working your legs for horse to leaning to horse, horse to leaning. Because when you're in a leaning stance, you have to bend this knee, pass through horse, leaning, drop, pass through horse, as a basic, sort of preparation to get to the other side. then your legs are actually going to be working. Can you guys do that? Nico, can you do it? Let's see. Just the drunken fist. Strike. Okay, do the whole thing here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. To the back. Strike. Now we got to cover. 1. Cross the hand. Oh, this way. Bend the knee. No, sink. Turn. Strike. Yeah. And it's like this. So the coordination between this and this becomes much more apparent, right, when you turn. So that's reversing the ball typically. Okay, so the elbow, let's just spend a little time with that one. Punch, shift, turn, step, draw. So we know this from 5 stances, right? But this time we're going to elbow, roll. Now, corner back fist, strike. Now, sink. You don't have to turn into this, just drop. Because the turn is going to be here. If you do this and turn here, you have no more turning for the palm. Because it's sequential. So the order of when the waist turns and when it drops is a dimensional change. So when you're here, 1, 2, 3. So I'm forward, 1, 2, 3. So the body is transitioning to here, to here. If you turn too soon, then you don't have any more. So that's timing, space. Okay, let's try that again. From there. Shift, 1, 2, 3, 4. Corner back fist, palm. Yeah, so good. And when you palm, you make a claw, because that puts strength in your arm, right? And then when you do, this goes back. And then the knee goes forward. Okay, let's try it again. All the things that have to happen in improving this technique is going through this. 1, 2, 3, draw, elbow, back fist, sink. Look at your hand. Sliding step, punch, or palm. Punch and palm doesn't, same action. And it goes right to your center, right? Here's your center, right? So your nose, your palm, and your knee should come forward. Yeah, be like that, yeah. So sometimes if we go into a stance and your palm, it's like this. You see my knee? It should be here. So that means you relax here. If I pull your hand or pull your knee forward and you end up doing this or just doing this, then this knee doesn't work. So to get the leaning projection of that forward position, you have to get your knee forward. That's a little bit of momentum that is transferred as weight. So get your knee forward. Okay. When we first learned the leaning stance, we didn't pay attention to that. But anyways, let's try that again. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Okay, good. Let's try again. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good. So just so you understand why I'm here, when I'm here, I turn like this. This is your interception. Right, the hand goes so if I'm here and he punches, my hand has to do this. See? So there's your line of, right? And then this goes here. And then this goes here. So this movement is 1, right? 2, 3, 4. So that's the technique. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the breakdown. In using the move, when he throws a punch, it's this. You see? So the hand, when they cross, sets up for this, sets up for this, sets up for this. Because my head is exposed here, I do that. I shift, and then there's your crescent kick. So for every action, there is a functional purpose for it. So this is avoiding. This is coming in. This is elbow, strike, palm, turn. So when you progress, then the intent of movement. When I'm here, I want to do a high block, it goes there. So that's your mind-body connection. Okay, let's try that again. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, again. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, again. Ready? Then we're going to go a little faster. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And back again. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So when you break it down, you're formatting it. You're formatting the movements in your body so you know what the breakdown is. Then once your body's familiar with it, then it just passes through and it blends it all together. And it gets faster and faster because the combination of movements become part of the action. And that's how you build speed. But if you try to build speed before you format it, it gets sloppy and clumsy. So, when you do form, you have to understand, how to practice it and, how to kind of, pay attention to what the instructors are doing. Because you miss a whole lot when you're first learning it because you don't see it. And the reason why you don't see it is because you don't know the body's supposed to be doing that. And then if you practice enough without an instructor, then there's a stage of discovery. You'll figure some of that out over time because you start to develop efficiency and movement. So, all right, deep breathing, inhale. So those are some samples of what you're learning, but you don't want to just get fixated on that. So you can go into second form and third form for sequential learning. So ready? Yeah. Okay, begin. Continue. Follow Eric. Eric, take you through the forms. So, good. Oh, she needs, how's she doing? Yeah. She know first form yet? Robin. She started. Okay. She got up for this. No, last time. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man, you work over there. Go ahead. Again? Want to try it again? Ready? Begin. Okay. So here and here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this would be like this. That's just like the hand movements in the salute. Yeah. So when you do the salute, you're here. Make your fists. Fold the elbows. Drop the elbows. Now see my arms are parallel. Then you bring your hands down to here. Then you would make a circle, and that's your opening movement. Okay, so try it again. Yeah, right, like this. And cross stance. And we cross leg. Then you did this. Then we're going to step down and squat down to that position if you can find that position. Remember last week we worked on that sitting. Yeah. Oh no. Okay. No, it's not like that one. Okay. We'll do it again. We're here, right? Let's do it. Let's face this way and do this. Then we're going to turn. Put this foot here. Yeah. And then no, it goes forward in leaning stance. Yeah, it's called 5 stances because we work the leaning, the horse stance, the cross stance, the reverse lean, and those, when your legs cross, they're kind of like transitional. So this is a leaning stance. So when I'm in the squatted stance, then I step up to a leaning stance, and this is open. Yeah. And this a little bit relaxed like that, yeah. And this is like that. Then you look in the mirror. You see. That's your position. Yeah. So when when you go through your movements, you can't see yourself unless there's a mirror. So there's an idea of sort of visualization or imagining what it should be like, and then your body starts to format that. But it still might not be right till you look into a mirror, and then look in a mirror, do it, look in a mirror, do it, and then eventually it starts to format in your body. And then when you
That leg work, right from the butterfly pose, right? Get a little better sense of the direction, a little better sense of how your legs and your arms are working, right? So let's do the legs first, right? So we just did this phoenix side, you're pressing with your left hand, phoenix side with your right. Hands come down, you turn, right? Let's just do the legs, right? You're going to this corner, cross step, right? Step out. Offset horse. Usually you want to adjust your front foot a little bit going into the corner. A little bit more. Cross step to that corner. Sink and look Third form will be with me here. Oh, happy? Okay. Okay. I think with these guys, we'll try and go through the whole third. So you come through the whole third? Yes. Okay. So we'll do the whole third. So you finish the second wall? How about this? How about we go through one? If you that you don't know the wall, then you can go away. Okay? I'll just do one. We'll do it slowly, okay?
Labor Day, we'll have a Kung Fu class intro. They're 1 hour classes, and on Sunday there's 1 hour Tai Chi Paradigm. Starting the week after. That's September 12th. There's going to be a 9:30 to 10:30 Tai Chi Paradigm class with intro to Kung Fu after that. And there's a pushing hand class in the junction, running at the same time. It's running at the same time as the Kung Fu class. So 10:30
to 11 and 9:30 to 10:30. So